We're working on Kill Shakespeare. It's going to be a 12-issue series with IDW. It's basically the Justice League of Shakespeare. So all his best heroes, the craziest villains in like one big universe, sort of like a Lord of the Ringsy kind of thing, I guess.
My partner and I, Anthony, we'd worked in Canada in film and TV, and we were trying to come up with a video game idea. And it was when Kill Bill was out, and we were saying, instead of killing David Carradine, what if you were killing Billy Shakespeare? And we were like, yeah, you have this cool game and all of Shakespeare's characters, and there's so many villains. And we stopped and thought, wait, that's actually really cool. And we did a little research and realized that people have retold Shakespeare in a lot of different ways. And every once in a while, there's been like, a crossover in theater, but only a little bit. Nobody had actually said, hey, what if all these characters can interact? And then we just started this story, and as I was kind of mentioning about Hamlet and his father, that was the first what-if question in my brain was, Shakespeare left all these clues in Hamlet about maybe Claudius being a better king than you would expect. Maybe he's not this bad guy who just killed his dad. And working on stuff like that, we just started asking all these questions about Shakespeare. Where can we take it a different direction that would still be kind of Shakespeare faithful, but would be really interesting for people who like Shakespeare? And then for people who don't, like in the comic, we kind of summarize who the characters are somewhere in the story, so you don't need to know all of Shakespeare's stories to just say, hey, this is a cool action adventure, and I know who Romeo is, I know who Juliet is, I kind of knew who Hamlet was, and yeah, I remember Othello. All these other characters, you'll get their stories. If you don't really know what Othello's about, you'll get what he's about. And ideally, what we really hope, because Anthony's a huge Shakespeare geek, is that somebody will go from reading Kill Shakespeare and then maybe pick up Othello for the first time or again and read it with different eyes, because now they have a little more sense of what's actually in the play. Because for us, and we're doing a panel about this today, Shakespeare, he was, to us, the greatest storyteller, and if he was working today, he'd be Steven Spielberg. He wouldn't be some sort of art guy. He would be doing, he'd be doing a better Avatar. Sorry, James Cameron, don't crush me.
2 years ago was when we kind of took it off the shelf again and dusted it off and redid the story, brought Andy Lange, our artist, on board about 18 months ago to do character designs and sketches. And it was last February that we pitched it to the publishers, and then we got a quote-unquote bidding war. We had a number of companies interested in it, and we signed with IDW because they were a great fit for it. So
awesome.
I'd say roughly about 2 years or so, but like I said, originally it was an idea that we'd come up with 6 years ago. I'm the Shakespeare geek, Connor's the comic geek, and I'm the Shakespeare geek.
Nice.
Yes. I
Excellent.
mean, I don't know everything about Shakespeare, but I mean, I've just been a huge fan of Shakespeare since grade 9 English. Merchant of Venice, Hath Not a Jew's Eyes, and If You Bring Us to Napoli, and I just really got into it through the Cliff Notes and the Coles Notes, and from there, I try to catch as much Shakespeare as possible, and some of the stuff still goes in my head, but the stories and the characters are what really draws me in. Shakespeare?
Yeah.
I think in grade 9 I did a bit of a scene from Merchant of Venice, but other than that, it's all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his lifetime plays many parts. His acts be in 7 ages. Or to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles and by opposing men.
I'm doing all the artwork for it, interior work. We got a great painter from Canada named Kagan McLeod, who is working on the book. It's just phenomenal. I'm doing some of the covers as well. It's a lot of fun. It's been a chance for me to prove, like a lot of my other work is very sort of cartoony, a little more Jamie Hewlett inspired, and this is sort of my first big mainstream sort of. It's a chance for me to show off that I can do some mainstream stuff, and really my layouts. I really want to try some different things with my layouts. A lot more sort of psychedelic kind of work, a lot of stuff in backgrounds, and this is giving me a chance to really work on that kind of stuff. And I love old barbarian movies and stuff like that, so this is a chance for me to do medieval stuff and sort of like a musketeer sort of time period, and it's just really fun to draw. That's right. Othello is like my Incredible Hulk, and Hamlet's like my Captain America. There's a great character in the book named Falstaff, and he's kind of like Santa Claus, but he's really fun to draw because he reminds me the most of me in the story, so he's really fun to draw. He'd be the Hamlet.
Why am I the Hamlet?
You would be the Hamlet.
Why am
I don't know.
Hamlet?
You look like the Hamlet I'm drawing, sort of.
Yeah, but I keep on.
You're pretty dark and brooding too. Like this guy is always pretty dark and always whining about his dad. No, he's not. See? See, he does a good one. So I'm like Falstaff, like, go have fun. Drink this.
In sooth,
Yeah.
I know not why I am sad.
I'm the writer. And Falstaff, because he's funny and fat. No,
No, I'm Falstaff.
Oh, damn it!
I'm already Falstaff. He's Hamlet. He's
Yeah,
Puck.
who are you? Who are you?
He's like a flying fairy. Just,
That's true.
Okay, I can go with
Whatever.
that.
No,
I'm mysterious and magical. That's
yeah.
actually a really good question. All right, give me a second to think
Right?
about this.
Andy signed me up for Hamlet.
Everyone
Yeah.
should know this, like just for their life.
Actually, one of the characters I am drawing him sort of like.
You know what? I always like Caliban. I don't know whether I feel like I'm some sort of half beast, half creature, but you know what I loved about Caliban, and this is such an angsty
The
teenage
racing?
angster. Well, not so much that part. But
he's
the
ginger.
fact that he was this complete Caliban was this complete outsider who was yearning to be more than he was and felt completely trapped. And I do remember seeing that play, and there was a
I don't
definite
think he's like
good amount of teenage
Caliban at
angst in
all.
Caliban. So when I was growing up,
He's not
I
like
totally
Caliban at all.
Not at all.
That's a good try.
He could have gone and been like, you know what? I caused all this. I can't undo it, but I'm going to take responsibility. Hamlet takes responsibility for nothing. And that's why I
That
always
sounds
dislike
like
Hamlet.
that's Peter Pan, like myself. Then
Yeah.
True facts.
I am Hamlet.
That's why I think hopefully our Hamlet will be, he makes different choices, and I think he's
If
not
he makes
more
any
interesting,
choices
but
at
he's
all, he's ahead of the curve. So.
Well, and that's one of the neat things about Hamlet is he makes all these small choices trying to avoid big choices, which is what he does in the play, right? He makes
Yeah.
all these small choices to avoid
Add
having
up.
to own up or decide what he wants to do. And all these BS small choices cause more trouble. So our Hamlet is also making a series of small choices which cause more trouble. But ultimately, our Hamlet gets a chance to make a big choice because he's been removed. He's not right there with his father's ghost staring him in the face all the time and looking at Claudius. He actually gets a chance to make a choice to be a young man and to move on with his life. And all right, if I took a life, I can't undo that. But what can I do as a human being now going forward to,
When someone asks,
to be a
did he use
legitimate
face
human
swap?
being, to make up
He
maybe
was,
for
he
the
was
fact that I
so
killed someone.
frustrated because it's like almost.
And we're Canadians, so I mean, who would have thought that Canadians would be able to kill Shakespeare? We're
Right?
so peaceful.